30,000 knights, 30,000 of Saladin's cavalry, and one order that would not come.
Do we charge?
No.
Then what are we waiting for?
The one order that hasn't come yet.
In vision, September 7th, 1191. The coastal plain near Arsuf. 7 days. 7 days of arrows that never stopped. 7 days of watching brothers fall without being allowed to answer. 7 days of a formation that should not have held, and did.
How many more days?
However many he asks for.
I cannot hold my horse much longer.
You will hold it.
And now Saladin has committed everything. 30,000 men have come out of the hills at once. The Hospitallers at the rear of the column are receiving a hammer blow, not harassment. Designed to collapse the rear and roll the entire column from behind. The signal has not sounded. Saladin had spent 20 years learning how to destroy armies like this. He understood the destrier was devastating at full gallop but useless in sustained pursuit. He understood chainmail became a furnace under the September sun. And he understood the Crusader cavalry was built for the charge, not for enduring. Harass from range, never close to melee. Draw the knights into a premature charge. Destroy them in open ground where lighter horses could outmaneuver. It had never failed against a Frankish army. Richard's answer was a formation that made that plan unworkable. 3 columns. Hospitallers at the van, Templars bearing the heaviest fire at the rear, the king's standard in the middle.
No knight moves before the signal. That is the order. And if the Hospitallers break, they will not break.
And if they do, then whoever breaks without my signal answers to me.
The infantry formed the outer wall, spearmen and crossbowmen in alternating pairs, shields overlapping, crossbows firing in rotation so the wall never opened. The knights rode inside this wall, mounted, not charging, waiting. 3 horn calls. Any man who broke without it faced execution. The arrow attacks opened on that 3rd day of September and did not relent for a full week. Muslim accounts record over 400,000 arrows expended across the march. The formation absorbed it. Horses died. Men accumulated wounds. The pace dropped to 8 miles a day, then 6. By the 5th day, the Templars at the rear were riding reversed in the saddle, their horses guided by squires.
Keep me straight! I cannot see the ground behind me!
I have your reins. Hold on.
Do they mean for us to bleed the whole way to Arsuf? They mean for us to charge. That is why we will not. Not yet.
Not yet. The desire to charge was overwhelming, but the signal had not sounded. And Richard was watching. What Richard was waiting for was not a moment of strength. He was waiting for Saladin to commit. The harassing strategy worked while the Crusaders still had a choice, hold or charge. But if Saladin committed his cavalry to a killing assault, the geometry reversed. A committed force in motion was a target. A mass of men at close range with no room to wheel away.
We could break them now, my lord. 1 charge and the rear is clear.
Now they can still turn away. I am waiting for the moment they cannot.
And if our own men break before that moment comes, then Saladin wins with our own discipline. So they will hold. All of them.
The question was whether Saladin would take the bait, and whether the column would hold long enough. Garnier de Nablus, master of the hospital, had held for 7 days. Every man was wounded, every horse was spent. When Taqi al-Din personally directed his cavalry at the Hospitallers' standard, a calculated provocation targeting their famous discipline, it worked. 2 knights broke forward without orders. Then more.
Master! We cannot hold them! Hold! They are already moving!
Then Garnier de Nablus himself drew his lance and charged. The 3 horn calls had not sounded. The formation Richard had maintained for 7 days was breaking. Richard saw the break. He had seconds. Recalling the Hospitallers was correct in theory and impossible in practice. They were already inside the Muslim cavalry. A recall would reach no one. The alternative, convert the broken command into a deliberate one. If every knight charged in the same instant, the accidental break became the leading edge of a coordinated assault. Discipline would hold not in place, but in timing.
Now! Now!
3 long horn blasts. 2,000 horsemen entered motion simultaneously.
You asked me 7 days ago if we charge. Now you charge. 7 days!
2,000 destriers at full gallop is not a metaphor for force. The lances hit first, 12-foot ash shafts with the combined momentum of horse and rider behind each point. The Mamluk cavalry had no room to perform its maneuver. Their line did not bend. It broke. The Hospitaller wedge drove through Taqi al-Din's cavalry. The Templars struck the far wing. Richard hit the Mamluk center directly. Their strength was mobility, not collision. Once trapped at contact range, mobility vanished, and every advantage ceased to exist. Saladin could not stop it. He attempted to rally personally.
Rally the right. Bring them back to the standard.
My lord, there is no right wing. It is running.
They held. They actually held.
He committed his guard. None of it mattered. Once cavalry is in full flight, no command travels faster than fear. The information that the right wing had broken reached the rest of the army faster than any messenger could ride. His banner was carried from the field. The pursuit ran approximately 3 miles before the Crusader horses simply stopped, not on orders but from exhaustion. Richard halted the pursuit. Every argument was made. The road to Jerusalem was open. The moment would not come again. Richard refused each one. The horses were spent. The men had nothing left. Pursuit into unfamiliar terrain risked exactly the dispersed, exhausted formation that Saladin had spent a week trying to produce. Discipline governed victory as it had governed the battle itself. They marched to Arsuf, made camp, counted the dead. Crusader losses approximately 700, most killed during the 7-day march, not the cavalry action. Muslim dead, estimates between 5,000 and 7,000 concentrated among the Mamluk cavalry. Jaffa surrendered without battle. The payoff of 7 days' restraint was collected in a single, uncontested approach.
We held.
7 days.
I did not think we would.
I know.
Arsuf did not recapture Jerusalem. Richard I never would. Saladin never again offered open battle. Jerusalem stayed in Muslim hands, but Christians received the right of pilgrimage. Richard had proven the Crusader presence was not finished. That it could hold, not forever, but for now. And now was enough.